What is a woman's worth? Not just in theory, but in labor, in sacrifice, in silence. This video may be hard to watch, but silence isn't neutral. It protects the system, not the people hurt by it. Adriana Smith was a Black woman kept alive, not for her own life, but for the one growing inside of her. It sounds like fiction, but for her and many women, it was heartbreakingly real. If The Handmaid's Tale was a warning, who was it meant to protect? I'm sharing this not just to shock you, but because I know what it's like to question your own worth, to feel like your work, your care, your labor, your very existence is only seen when someone benefits from it. The story of Adriana Smith touches something ancient and ongoing, the way women's work, especially Black women's work, has been used but rarely valued. But here's the thing, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you name it, you can start to change it. So let's talk about labor, about legacy, about healing your definition of worth before the world defines it for you. Welcome back to Balance Muse, where we talk about wealth, wisdom, and a greater sense of well-being. Today, I'm going to talk about a subject that I'd been thinking about approaching for a while, but it was recent events that gave me the catalyst to say, okay, now is the time to go ahead and approach this subject. It's a little bit heavier than some of the subject matter that I usually talk about, especially when I talk about wealth creation. But when I think about wealth creation and well-being and how the two are often intertwined, I can't help but be affected by the story that is recently going on in the news. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes and I'm just going to jump right into it. So why am I talking about this today? It's because I've been asking myself a very hard question lately. What is a woman's worth? And that means economically, spiritually, and culturally. What happens when a woman's value is tied to what she gives, but not who she is? I'm pretty sure that there are many women who can relate to that, whether they are single without children, or they are a mother with many children, single mother, married mother. If they're older and you begin to question what your worth is as you age. I'd like to speak with it in the terms of being a woman because I am a woman. So there was an episode in The Handmaid's Tale, and I believe it was season 3, episode 9. And the episode was called Heroic. So I'm just going to summarize the episode of what happened. In The Handmaid's Tale, the TV show, the episode Heroic, one handmaid named June is confined to a hospital room with another handmaid named Natalie. And Natalie is brain dead, having suffered excessive blood loss from a shooting. However, the government of Gilead prioritizes Natalie's pregnancy, keeping her on life support until she gives birth. So they have the scene where you see the woman and she's lying on a bed. She has, various things in, instruments, medical instruments to keep her alive. And the other handmaid, June, is there, and she's having to watch this woman who's brain dead and still has the pregnancy. So the hospital and the country the government has deemed it that she needs to keep that pregnancy to full term to deliver it. That was a fictional show. That particular episode aired in 2019. And we fast forward to today and we have the story of Adriana Smith. Now, Adriana Smith is a woman, just like it is in the show, The Handmaid's Tale. She happens to be a Black woman, just like Natalie played in The Handmaid's Tale, the character of Natalie. And she is kept on life support, not to save her, but to use her body as an incubator, just like in The Handmaid's Tale. And this didn't happen on a fictional TV show. That did not happen in a dystopian science fiction novel. It happened in Georgia. If The Handmaid's Tale was a warning wrapped in fiction, who was it meant to protect? The uncomfortable truth is that some women have already been living the nightmare others only imagined. We can't call it fiction when someone else is living that as their reality. There has been a long going history of women being ignored when they put together their concerns or they go to their doctor with their concerns, and especially with Black women where they've been used in medical experiments without their consent or been told that they could take it because they're strong and they were meant for that. But that was just a small portion of where it was a fictional show that was portraying that, but this was real people's history. Okay, so let's go deeper. Why is women's labor, especially caregiving, birth, or emotional work, why is it so undervalued? And it's also unpaid unless someone else can profit from it. I've worked in a daycare facility before. I've seen instances where the state will allow up to 8 children, like little children under the age of 2, and they'll only have one caregiver that's designated to take care of these children. Unless they can fit as many heads as they want to into a classroom, they are not making profit. So they try to fit as many as they can legally as necessary so that they can get more money per person in the classroom, per child. This is the same thing that goes for elementary school. There is a price, literally, on your child's head. There is a cost to that child being in the classroom. Hence why there are usually so many children in the classroom per teacher. So here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of women have been taught that love means labor, that worth is measured in sacrifice, that success only counts if it looks like struggle. Does this sound familiar to you? Here's what I've learned. You can't heal a wound you're not allowed to name. Once you see how this system works, you stop blaming yourself for feeling burned out, unseen, or used. You start asking what it would look like to truly be valued. Because this isn't just about Adriana Smith, and it's definitely not just about me. It's about all of us asking, what is this woman's work? What is this woman's worth? So let's talk about unpaid labor. This is the cooking, the cleaning, the childcare, the emotional support. In most homes, someone's got to do it. Someone is doing it. But when a mother does it, society calls it love instead of labor, or a double whammy of a labor of love. And it is, but often that mother is burnt out. She doesn't have the resources or the means to even take care of herself, let alone her house. And many women are also working outside the home as well, and they do the majority of the domestic labor. So globally, women do 3 times more unpaid work than men. And if this work were paid, it would add trillions to the global economy, but it's not paid. And that's not an accident, it is by design. Throughout history, women's labor was often expected, but invisible. It was sacred, but exploited. It was essential, but it was erased. And from the plantation to the playroom, many have profited from women's bodies, but not the women themselves. So when women start to speak up about these imbalances in the labor, we're told that we're being dramatic. We're told that we're being overly emotional. We're told that we need to be grateful, or even worse, that we were created to do this. The translation that I'm hearing, and that many other women are also hearing, is that they need to stay quiet and to keep giving. But here's where it shifts, because awareness is the beginning of liberation. When I ask, what is this woman's worth? I'm not just mourning the past. I'm rewriting and rewiring the future. First of all, recognizing the awareness of what's going on, the imbalance, and then saying out loud, calling out the problem for what it is, saying it out loud, putting a word or a label on it. You are beginning to rewire your brain to see the pattern where it exists so that you can stop it. You can put a stop to it. Redefining success means that I no longer see rest as laziness, love as currency, or burnout as a badge of honor. I am learning to value myself, even when no one else is watching, even if society never will. That is where the healing begins. So healing, it's a personal thing, but it's definitely not private. When we heal how we see our own worth, we ripple that out into our relationships, our families, our communities, our whole legacies. You don't have to fix the system. You just have to start with you. So now I ask again, what is this woman's work? What is this woman's worth? And maybe even a better question is, who gets to decide? Who decides what my worth is? Because from now on, it's me. So for all you ladies out there feeling very underappreciated, all you wonderful women working in helping yourselves to learn your worth, to know and understand it deep to your core, you do not have to prove your worth. You don't have to earn your rest, and you don't have to save the world to be sacred. A reflection question I encourage you to ask is, who am I when I am no longer performing for love, safety, and survival? Balancing information. My existence is valuable. Even in stillness, I am enough. Even when I'm not producing, I deserve peace simply because I am. Thank you for tuning in to Balance Muse. I appreciate each and every one of your views. And if you found this video resonated, I encourage you to like and subscribe if you'd like to. But I want you to enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.